All right.
זה בסדר ככה? אתה צריך לראות אותי.
It's okay. All right. So this session will be about the initial ground movement. We'll do very basic movements and join them into a combination or a chain and see how we can move from there. So we begin with the breathing. We'll try to breathe all the time in through the nose and also out through the nose. So we avoid any big changes to the jaw and any increased pressure to the throat. So inhale through the nose and exhale through the nose. Now find yourself a comfortable spot on the ground, preferably without carpet, as you like it. And from here, just place your back on the ground and your arms flat. Your body relaxed. And from here, we're going to press parts of the body to the ground with the inhale. So from here, I inhale and I press the back of my head to the ground. Exhale, release. Now I press the back of my neck to the ground. Exhale, release. I press both shoulders to the ground. Release. Shoulder blades. Release. Both arms. Release. The spine between the ribs. Exhale and release. Now, the ribs on one side, you choose which side. Release. On the other side. Now, the spine where the lower back is. Lower back on one side, choose which one. Opposite side. Now press your behind area, the waist to the ground. Release on the exhale. Press one leg from the hip bone to the top, all the way down. Exhale, release, opposite side. And release. Good. After we've pressed and released, we turn around to lie on our front. And from here again, I press my chin to the ground on the inhale. I press one shoulder. I press the opposite shoulder. I press one side of the rib cage. Opposite side of the rib cage. One side of the stomach area. Opposite side. Now I press one side of the hip to the ground on the inhale. Opposite side. One leg to the ground from the hip bone all the way to the toes. Opposite side. Good. And from here, we again turn into a sitting position, and I want you to place yourself only on your behind. So legs in the air, hands, all the body is connected to each other. You can rest your hands on your legs and just rest in the air. From here, we're just going to use our eyes, our breath, and our hips to shift from place to place. So from here, I'm shifting my eyes, allowing the body to follow the end of the pendulum, which is the spine. So I'm just turning my head and all the body adjusts and rotates from side to side. Continue to do so, and as you do so, allow the breath to be the tempo. So you breathe in to one side, exhale to other side, into one side, exhale to other side. Good. Think about it this way. There's a tiny weight here that can move the entire weight of the body and there's no needed excess tension from there. Good. Now, after we've done this, let's do this in a circle. What we're doing, I'll show first, is doing the side-to-side sway, but I'm also adding a shifting of weight instead of just going up and down or with the shoulders up and down. I'm going in a bit of a circle, so I'm turning in place. And all this is just the adjustment of how we place our weight. It is the beginning of everything in wrestling and everything else that we can evolve to. So I'll show. From this position, I'm beginning at the start, just rocking side to side, and then I'm adding the turning to it. See? And switch, turn in one direction and then the other. Always allow your breathing to be the leading in every movement. Good. Continue to turn from one turn to the next. It's also really good in developing the six-pack because it's really hard to eat while you're doing this. And keep breathing. Don't struggle by trying to move with your hands. It causes tension in the body. So from here, instead of, shifting yourself, which is also, possible, but it's also a torque on the spine. And let's say if you're, trying to catch something or something like that, this is a twist. It creates tension, and you're visible only to a very small, narrow area. Instead, from here, if I'm turning with my entire body, I can hold this position. I can move it. That's the, let's say, the shift between trying to win a situation and grow through it. A little bit more, turning side and side. You're allowed to smile. In the beginning, it can be a bit awkward, but it's really good for progressing the movement of understanding how we shift the weight. All right, enough? Now, what we'll do now is do the same thing, only on a larger scale. So what we're going to do is to breathe, release from two sides, like a balanced position, like standing on two legs. We're standing on one leg, so one hip will carry the weight. And then we'll rock back on one side of the spine and come back. I'll show this from an angle. So from this position, I'm shifting to one side, rolling back to one shoulder blade. You can shoot the legs in the air, depending on your comfort. And I'll show from the opposite position. From here, I am shifting position, yes? Shifting to one side of the hip, and then I'm relaxing here. So you should be able to balance on either side. From here, balance and balance. Go on, left and right, left and right. When you come back, also come back on the side of the spine. Think like you're in a, let's say, sliding in a stairway or outside in nature. Maybe there's a rock, maybe there's a snake. You don't want to expose your spine to the movement. So always on the side. Left and right, left and right. Okay. When you reach a position where you are on your shoulder blade, that's the point where you should feel very light in your legs because they're not carrying anything. And then it's natural to just expand the body to a standing position, standing on one shoulder blade. I'll show this again slightly slower. So from here, I'm relaxing to one side, relaxing from here. The legs carry nothing. They're very limber, they can do whatever is needed, and they should be weightless when you're doing it. Now, let's move before we continue here. We'll do a preparatory drill for the next one. We have our shoulder blades, so we're going to move by expanding them like we did in the pressing position where we press the shoulder blade to the ground. So I don't want to expose the spine to the ground because I don't know what's there, but I can definitely expose my shoulder blade. So from here, I'm going to shift my weight. I'm lifting my hips in the air and shifting my weight from one shoulder blade to another. I'll show. In this position, I'm on one shoulder blade. I'm turning to the other, to the other, to the other, to the other, like so. So in no way is my spine touching the ground. Also, you are shifting your shoulder blades in and out, like so, 1 and 2, and you're shifting yourself from one to the other. Hips don't touch the ground, the spine definitely doesn't touch the ground, and allow the eyes to see what the body presents before it. Then the movement becomes a lot less of an effort or an exercise. Yeah. Allow the shoulders to move as well. For example, from this position, I'm on both shoulder blades. I'm shifting myself to one, and I'm relaxing the shoulder blades. So the shoulders are coming towards each other. From here, they're going against each other, towards each other, against each other, towards each other, against each other, towards each other. Like so. Good. Good. All right. Now, let's do a full ellipsis with the spine. So what we're going to do is travel from one side of the hip over one side of the spine, not on the spine, shift from shoulder blade to shoulder blade without touching the spine to the ground, and go back down. So we're doing an ellipsis. I'll show this a few times. From this position, I'm rolling to one side, back to the one, turn to the other, coming back. Go ahead. Allow the head to move freely. Allow it to see what the body is presenting before it. See what phase of breathing matches everything. In order to feel the movement better, you can also do it without arms. I'll show what I mean. When I'm here, and if my arms are always pointing up, then I'm not using my stabilizing arms. I'm not using them as part of the leverage, and then the movement becomes a lot more about the body and less about the limbs. Try it without arms in the air, always. Yeah. Think that someone's throwing you a baby and you have to catch it. Good, good. I see that you're starting to shift the hips in the air. That's very good. Rest the weight of the body on one shoulder blade and then shift it to the other. Good. All right. All right. Let's go to something else. Now we worked the spine. Now let's work the front of the body. We're going to start by doing something very simple, just looking around and rocking back and forth. But we're not going to use the muscles of the spine for it. We're just going to use the diaphragm of the breathing. So I'm lying on my stomach and raising, arching, keeping a straight arch, not straight, but a straight arch with my spine, with all my limbs in the air and my head in the air. And then I'm just going to use my breathing to rock myself forward and back. I'll show this. So from this position, like so. Just breathe and allow the breath to move your body back and forth like a boat. Relax the shoulders back. Don't keep the arms tense in the air, but keep them just floating over the ground. That's good for later on movement. Also, allow the head to move with the movement of the body. This is a bit fatiguing in the beginning, especially after a meal, but when you do this, allow the spine to also move as a part of the movement. I'll show this again. So from here, from this position, I'm all in the air, and from here, like so. Try to allow the spine to move as well. If you have a question, just raise your hand. Here's one of my knife instructors. He's never unarmed. His name is Charlie, and he's vicious, as you can see. Okay. Now, yeah. Yes, Avi. What's your question, mate?
Yes, what can I do if I have a back problem and I really cannot arch my back like a swing as you do?
Excellent
Actually,
question. Excellent question. Very simple answer. You have a bed in your home. In your home, you also have pillows, right?
yeah.
Yes. So what you do, you take a pillow. I didn't make this up. So here, you just take a pillow, horrifying like this or not, and then you just create a flat spine and you float on that. So from here,
Sorry, I didn't get it. Ah, yes.
just put yourself on your stomach here, like so, and you put a flat, like so, like a straight body, and from here, you just breathe.
Okay. I'm going to do this.
Any more questions up till now? All right. Okay. Now we'll do a side-to-side turn. A side-to-side turn means that you have to breathe more into one side of the lungs, or like more into one lung. It's very easy to do, although it sounds weird. What you do is just inhale more on one side and you direct it to one side. The other way to do it is also to constrict how you breathe into one side. So you create a bit of tension in one side, but I don't advise it. It's only good in case of treating an injury, like a broken rib, where you don't want to move those ribs too much because it hurts. So what you do, you rock again, but instead of back and forth, you rock from side to side. Excuse me, Charlie. So from here, I'm in the air and only on my stomach, and I'm like so. And you can do the same thing with the pillow. Yes, Avi.
I don't know how to unraise my hand.
Okay, no worries. Here. Okay, so try side to side, limbs in the air. It's not, it's a beginning drill, so you learn a lot from it of how to shift your body from your breath. And also, it gives you a lot of benefits in terms of health, because you learn to manage your pressure and tension while in a bit of a weight-bearing situation, your own weight. Another way to do it is if you can't lie down on the ground, you can also do it by placing yourself over a ball and on the wall and rolling over it. I'll show this in another lesson. Good. Now, any questions till now? No. Okay. So let's do a sideways roll. So we start from a sitting position, and from here, what I'm doing is learning how to spread my spine in order to avoid pressure on it. So I'm leaning forward, but at an angle, same way as if I'm drawing a sword upwards. So from here, I'm relaxing sideways. So this shoulder goes forward, these shoulders go back, like so. This is exaggerated. So from here, and from here, one leg goes back, just in order to facilitate the equilibrium of mass. So I'm shifting this way. And from here, what I'm doing, I'm extending this bent leg, extending it into a shoulder stand. One shoulder, and then opposite shoulder. And from here, I come back, down. I'll show this from the other direction. From here, I'm relaxing forward, creating one line with my head and my shoulders. So, as you can see here, it's not touching the ground, it's falling and sliding. Falling and sliding. From here, this leg goes up, shoulder blade, no spine, opposite shoulder, and coming down. Try not to do it just on the shoulder, but also on the shoulder blade, so there is some more curve in the spine here. Because if you're on the shoulder and it goes fast, it goes into this boom. Yeah, that's better. That way you expose less of your spine. Good. Good, good shifting of weight. Nice socks too. Good, all right. Now, after we've done this, we'll do this straight on. So from this position, again, my legs are in the air, my hands are in the air. What I'm doing is looking to one side and casting the hand. So I'm creating a bit of a curve, and it's a turning curve. I'll show this from two angles. First from here, let's say. So from here, I'm relaxing to one side. Again, I'm creating a curved shoulder, so it accepts the ground and turns with it. See, from here, like so. I'm slightly straight. So you're never trying to create support from yourself from your limbs. You're using the body motion to move the limbs. And from there, I'm going to roll over the shoulder backwards. So from here, from one position and opposite. Rolling over one shoulder. The difference in this roll is that you're not using your legs at all. You're not moving yourself from your legs, just the body. So think about it this way. All your legs, like they are inert, not able to move at all. And you do it as if nothing can move them. Let's say I cannot move my legs at all. I'm in a sitting position. I'm relaxing to one side from here, and I have to lift them from here, lift them. So I'm using my hands to move my legs to completely avoid this pressure. So from here, slow. Like so. Hold yourselves in the underneath area of the knees and move your legs as if you don't have them. Yes, and keep putting your hands there. Greatly improve your mobility and ability to move under pressure. And do it one side and the other side. Good. Okay. Now let's shift back to the hips by immobilizing our limbs to a greater degree. So we're just going to sit with our feet touching together from this position. Just put your feet together and your hands touching your feet like so. From this position, start rocking side to side with the breath. And also notice that as you squeeze the body, it allows the body to breathe itself. So you don't have to use excess tension there. So from here, it can be, because you're already squeezing yourself. So you have less tension in the body. And from here, we're going to do full circles. And here you're also going to learn not to fight your own tension. Because if you're holding your feet and you're trying to push, it's hard. So from here, I'm going side. I like my body to shift. Going. So avoid furniture. See, so one direction, one side, and then direction in the other. Yeah, good, good. When you feel pressure that you're pushing your own legs, try to move that into the body, into the spine, and then you release the amount of excess tension that you use in that movement. Also avoid pushing off the spine. Always use the sides of the spine. A bit more. I'll show again. Holding your own feet together and just rocking sides. Like so. When you feel pressure against the legs, when you're trying to push yourself, that's the point where your body and your mind are learning to work together with a lesser degree of tension. Good. I can see your form changing. Also, think about your back, not as one snake, but two snakes, one at every side of the spine. That would really help. Yes, Avi?
Oh, I see I'm the only one who cannot make it.
Maybe not yet. Yes?
A few reasons. One of them I just ate my lunch now.
No,
And
just
second, I don't think I have too many close things here.
well, an easier way to do it is to start with just back and forth, because the eyes always want to go forward, so you have more, let's say, will in the body to do that. So if you're just beginning with that, it will be easier to just go to one side. Let's say I go to one side, I go back, I cross, I come back. It's a lot easier. One side, cross, come back. Try that in the beginning, and if that
Where
doesn't
should I
work,
cross? Where should I cross?
you cross over the shoulder blades.
Okay.
So you don't massage your spine on rocks if you're doing it outside. It's a good way, to keep living. Yeah. Hold the feet, not the ankles. The ankles are easier. The feet, yeah. I can see you. Good, good. Because then when you're holding the ankles, you don't feel the resistance and the direction that the foot itself provides. When you hold the feet, it's a lot more coherent to the body to understand the movement. And if at first you don't succeed, try with more breath, try with more relaxation. Okay.
Thank you.
Sure. Now, next is a fun drill for some, less fun for others. So what we'll do is do a bit of sideways frog ups, let's call it. So I'm starting from the sitting position, and in this drill, the knees never come off the ground, never. So what I'm doing is turning, but not lifting and turning. I'm turning in place, so I need to facilitate the hips to allow me to turn. And from here, I can't lift my knee up. I have to turn in place. And from here, I'm raising up. Yes? To this position. In no way am I on bone. I'm on my, mini flesh. And from here, I'm relaxing under control. From here, I am sending the hip. So the knee is always down, sending it so it's always down. And then, of course, the other side. So from here, I'm shifting my hips, so my knees never leave the ground. One direction. Again, relaxing, so I'm always flat on the ground in terms of knees. Yeah, from here, it's a turn of the hip, and then like so. You can see that I'm also shifting my hip and spine, so it's easier to facilitate the non-lifting of knees. Okay, I'm shifting to one side, easier to this. Shifting to the other side, easier on the other, and then going up. Then again, shifting, unloading this side, so it's easier to load, and then from here, I'm going back, and it's easier to unload the other without lifting the knee. Go on. Yep. Exhale on the way up. Don't allow the knee to disembark the ground. Yeah, good. You're learning to move the hips with the knees together as one unit. The same way that when, let's say, if you are doing all sorts of movements with your hips and with your shoulders together with your elbows, all this sort of stuff, it also works together. Same way here. I show this from the back. From here, if I am lifting, and from here, the moment that I'm disembarking here, I'm a lot less with myself. Instead, from here, if I'm relaxed with my hips, I'm able to turn and to shift position a lot smoother. Like so. Please continue and allow your breathing to always be the beginning of every motion. Inhale and move, exhale and move. Good. Good effort. Allow the spine to unlimber or remove the pressure from one side of the hip so it'll be easier to move that way. So you're never pressing the bone to the ground. Good. One more time. All right. Now let's do some helicopters. We'll do helicopters in several ways. We'll begin by placing our legs together and mostly straight, not locked, in the air. From here, what I'm doing, I'm shifting to one side of the hips, turning on the hips, turning, and doing a full turn, and then obviously to the other side, shifting to the side of the hips, shifting and turning, shifting and turning, shifting and turning. Do a few of those. Don't allow the legs to touch the ground. Try to keep your legs together and shift on the bone of the hip. Good. One direction and the other, and allow the breath to start the motion. Now, think of the rest of your body as counterweight. So instead of moving your legs, what I'm doing is shifting to the side, so the legs move to counter. So now I'm balanced here. And then from here, all I'm doing is going forward, and from here, turning my head to the side, the same way, like so. Like at the very beginning, where I'm just breathing and shifting my eye focus, so everything moves together. One and the other. Okay. Now, let's do some rolling bridges. Rolling bridges is when we do, let's call it a shoulder bridge that rocks onto the ground or rocks onto the front. I'll show. From this position, I'm raising myself to spine and hip. And from here, I'm bringing this shoulder, the one that's going to roll, underneath me and rocking with my chest circular, like so. From here, again, rocking, this shoulder goes underneath, and it's a turning motion. Think about it like a rolling sideways, like a barrel roll. So there's no smack with the ground, only smooth rolling that we create by turning the body. So from here, I am going underneath myself, turning, rolling, 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 like so. Think about it as a no impact rolling.
you rolling more across your chest or your abdomen or your hips?
It's mostly between shoulder and shoulder, so it's the top of the chest. So you're not impacting any soft tissue, more around this area. So this goes inward, creates a circle, and you can roll over it. Yeah.
So are the front of your hips on the ground or no?
The front of the hips don't need to touch the ground. It's just the top of the body, and the rest doesn't have to. Yeah. Good. Allow your head to turn as well. It makes all the movement easier. 2 more times. All right. Any questions up till now? All right, no questions. So let's move on. We'll do 2 more movements and we'll see. Okay, next movement is just shoulder blade walking, or you can call it shoulder blade worm. We start from a position where we are squashed together and we walk opening and closing on the shoulder blades. Oh, as always, use your breathing to let the movement begin and end. I'll show. From here, when I'm bent, I'm just on my feet and on my shoulder blades. I'm lifting by turning my body and walking, lifting and walking until I'm fully stretched out, only on my heels and shoulder blades, and then I'm walking back. That's it. Keep yourself only on the heels and the shoulder blades. Not the entire foot, just the heels. Open yourself up as long as you can, and then bring yourself together just on the heels and the shoulder blades. Keep your head in the air and allow the movement of the head to begin, along with the breath, the movement of the body.
And you're walking with your feet, or your feet stay in the same place?
No, the feet stay in place. It's sort of like a opening and closing accordion. That you're creating a long flat arch or a short concave arch. Good question. All right, one more movement. It's a very simple one, but it's one of the most, let's say, healthy movements and more teaching movements that we can do. We keep our limbs and head in the air, and we do a barrel roll to one side, a barrel roll to the other side. I'll show what this means. Keeping all my limbs in the air, my head in the air, and I'm using just my body. I'm starting at the center of my spine where my ribs are, moving my ribs to turn facing here, and again, my ribs to here, just breathing and spinal movements. Like so. Use the breath and the arching and forward and back of the spine itself to rock back and forth. Okay. Back and forth. Limbs in the air, head in the air. Allow just the breathing and the arching of the spine to facilitate the movement. All right, good. Now, just lie down, face up, lie down on the ground, face up, limbs straight at your sides. Now, as you inhale, lift just the head off the ground. Inhale, lift the head. Exhale, release. Choose a shoulder. Inhale and lift just the shoulder. Exhale, release. Opposite shoulder. Inhale, lift. Exhale, release. Now, one shoulder blade. Arch to lift one shoulder blade up. Exhale, release. Opposite shoulder. Exhale, release. Now, the center of the spine where the ribs end. Inhale and arch it up. Exhale and release. One side of the lower back. Exhale and release. Opposite side. Exhale and release. Now, one side of the hips, arch it up. Exhale and release. Opposite side. Exhale and release. One back of the knee. Release. Opposite side. Release. And now we'll reverse it a little bit. Place your hands and your feet, or the side of the feet, on the ground. And when I say, I'll count to 10 and try to press them as hard as you can slowly into the ground. We'll count to 10, and 10 would be the highest measure of force on the ground. So 1, inhale, start inhaling. Start pressing down with your hands and with your feet. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And slowly release that pressure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, 10. We skipped an 8. Now, shoulders. We press both shoulders to the ground to the same count, to 10. So we start with very minimal force, and we slowly increase it to a full force of pushing them to the ground. Inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Start releasing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Good. Now, the ribs, press them into the ground in the same rhythm, same count. But don't press the center between them. Don't press the spine into the ground, just the ribs. Let's begin. Start inhaling. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And release. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Good. Now, just the back of your head and your heels. So heels, both heels, and the back of the head. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Release, exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Last one. We're going to use the neck, the back of the neck, not the back of the head, the back of the neck and the hips. Press them both together to the ground. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Exhale, release. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Good. Now roll sideways to a sitting position with the breathing. Feeling a bit sleepy? All right. I asked the same questions as always. Did you have fun today?
Yeah.
Sorry?
Good. Any questions?
Yes.
Yeah.
When I push the back of the head and the heels, I felt very acoustic pain to איך אומרים?
your neck?
רכה. לא, רכה.
That's
רכה שמאלית.
I understand.
רכה שמאלית. מה זה?
Yeah, that means that you were in some way constricting your breathing, or that you were pressing more than you were comfortable with. So when you feel such pain, or you feel like pain in the temples here, it means that there is overpressure here. It means that there is pressure here that's constricting blood flow upwards and downwards. When you feel such pressure, it's good to release the shoulders so the connective tissue is released and the blood flow and the oxygen flow to the brain is more continuous. Also, if you feel that you are strained in the back of the neck, instead of trying to move the neck itself, it's better to just put your hands on your head and move your head from this position so the neck is more relaxed, so it's being moved instead of you are moving it and increasing the tension there. That's a good question.
Thank you very much.
Emily, how are you?
Great. Yeah,
Phil?
really enjoyed it.
Thank you, Sharon. It was a beautiful training. Thank you so much.
All right. Have a good night, and I think I will see you on Wednesday, if you're free. All right.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay.
Good night. Thank you very
Good
much.
night.
Bye, folks. Ciao.
Bye.